Hello, my lovies. I'm so excited you're here with me today. We are going through such a growth and an upgrade in every way possible is happening on planet Earth. Some people are calling it, this is the conscious awareness or awakening that everyone's going to get pulled through. How people get through it is gonna, be different, of course. And we're at the beginning stages, and we have been at the beginning stages, but March seems to be very steeped in massive shifts and changes. And what's happening is what's been being shared with me is that our also every one of our own systems is having an upgrade and a shift. So some of you might be like me, having a lot of confusion in every aspect of their lives. And if you are in confusion, I want you to start to recognize that that is part of the awakening. If you're sitting in overwhelm, it could be part of your awakening. And awakening isn't this thing that's called, I've got to be woke. I know that that's a trigger word for a lot of people, but what is happening is that the whole universe is going through, our galaxy is going through this massive shift in awakening. And it's cool because we've got so much science now behind it that is showing this. And one of the ways is our solar flares, which is representative of how much light is being put onto the earth. A lot of people follow Schumann resonance, which gives us the a way of at least analyzing how much light is coming into it. Now, we've heard this for a long period of time. I remember listening to channels back in early 2000, and they kept talking about how the light is getting brighter on the planet. And so what happens when there's light on the planet is it burns things off. It burns things away. And we've had a lot of fires here. We've just had a lot of earthly stuff. It's not just fires. And what they're telling us is that we have this opportunity to take this confusion that a lot of us have been sitting in, and that confusion, that overwhelm, whatever the word is for you. I like using the word confusion because it gives me an opportunity to get curious about it. When I'm curious about confusion, I realize in that moment, I've got some work to do myself. And that is huge for all of us who are sitting in, I'm ready for a new level of living. I'm ready to let go of some of the old, very dense, heavy ways of living that we have all experienced in our lives. That is so present. But walking through confusion can stir the pot a lot. And because we have so much of the astrological stuff happening, this is the time to be doing it. And what I see for the collective whole is the more that we understand what we're walking through, I think the easier sometimes it is to do the inner work. So I want to explain what they've been showing. So there is a veil, and the veil has been something that has been getting, and this is the easiest way I can explain it. There might be people who can do a much better job at this, but way back in the day when I was born, the veil was way out here, right? Which meant this world that I'm participating and living in was it's just real. Like this is it. This is my existence. This is what I'm here for. But there was, of course, a lot of other people who could go beyond living in this 3D reality. And they really helped to implant that. And as time has gone on, and as we've walked more closer into the age of Aquarius, and we have had something called the little internet, which gives us information, and people can expand their knowledge very quickly now, is that veil has come closer to us, which means it's been thinning, is what people say, which means that there is so much more than what we see with our five senses in this human suit. And so, as that veil has gotten close, we are at the premise where it's very thin. And it means that, and this is the visual I was given. They show a waterfall, And that waterfall represents, like, if you're behind a waterfall and you're looking through it, you can kind of see the light. You can kind of see a little bit of what's beyond it, but it isn't clear enough. And it can give a little confusion. It can give illusions off, right? And as you yourself step closer to the veil and or to the waterfall, what happens is there's a moment where it feels a little refreshing, like the little sprays of water come on you, and like, ooh, that feels quite good. There's something beyond that. I can see kind of, but I'm kind of nervous because I'm not really sure what's on the other side. So I think I'm going to just stay in this place that feels like really cool and refreshing. But if you stay in that space too long, what happens is you get saturated, you get wet, your hands get crinkly, and you're like, ugh, I don't like that feeling anymore. And so then you take a step and the minute you start walking through the veil slash waterfall, is that the first thing is you have that heavy feeling coming through on your body from the water. And it feels sometimes cool and refreshing. But you can't hear anything in that moment. So like hearing kind of goes away because all you can hear is the water coming through. You can't really see because there's water coming through. And that's the only thing that you can tangibly touch is feelings of water, things that are fluid, things that are just running through you. You can't hold it. And it feels good at the first moment, but the second moment you're in it, you're like, ooh, I really got to walk through this. Like this is a little too intense for too long of a period of a time. And then when you walk through it, it's like, oh, that's what it was. Oh my gosh. I saw such an illusion behind it, and now I see so clearly. But there was exciting parts, and then there was refreshing parts, and there was parts where when you were stepping through it, you couldn't see, hear, or feel anything. And that's what we call stepping through the unknown. And that is the part that I have been hearing for the last year and a half is that you're not going to know how things are going to look until you walk through the veil, until you walk through the waterfall, until you walk through the discomfort and the dis-ease of like not being in control of where it's going. So that is part of what they're wanting us to start to recognize that we're all doing. Some of us are in the process of it, but it's not just a one-time deal. And that they actually show many, 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 like it's an infinite amount of waterfalls around you because we are multidimensional beings. We have multitude of layers. We have all kinds of energetic systems, right? We have many, many belief systems, and sometimes that's what you're going to need to walk through. And the more that you can slow down and ask yourself, what is the thing that I am feeling confusion on? What is the thing that I have the biggest fear, overwhelm, anxiety about? Whatever the word is. That it's not like you have to do it all at once, and you won't do it all at once because, again, there is going to be layers upon layers of these veils being opened to us. But they're also saying not only be cognizant of what it is that you're walking through for the growth of yourself, but the growth of humanity, because fear has been anchored into the frequency of this planet Earth, right? Duality is it's the learning planet. We've all heard that. We understand that there's growth happening and that within the duality is why it feels so magical to even walk through a veil because you realize that there was something that you had been holding on to, that monkey on your back, that you decided that was no longer going to be the thing that you were going to carry with you, which meant that you had to get really present with it. So, for instance, some of us have been working through some things that have slighted us, or maybe you've had some experiences of like, gosh, I did something to somebody that I'm not really proud of, and it keeps coming up. This again has to do with that Venus in retrograde right now, like relationships and your values of who you are and how you want to be seen in the world and how people see you and your collaborations and your connections and your partnerships. All of that stuff is being reviewed right now. So that might be the veil that you're walking through right now. You don't have to identify what it is. I think it's just recognizing it, slowing down enough to ask yourself the deep questions. Ooh, this keeps popping up. I'm going to be present with it. I'm going to journal about it. I'm going to dance about it. I'm going to cry about it. I'm going to release about it. I'm going to forgive myself and forgive anybody else that's attached to this. And then it's like in that moment you walk through it and you're going to see things from a different perspective. Now, we've been doing this all along, but as that veil has gotten thinner, we're going to see the potential of what that forgiveness, what that love anchoring, what that releasing actually is doing for the greater good now. Because fear is so prominent around everybody, because everything has been turned over. Everything's been, and this has been going on since 2020 and prior to, but the big ones were in 2020, right? Where everything had to be tipped over and looked at. Like every rock had to be moved so we could see what was the truth and who was really dominating and what was prevailing in that moment and realizing I don't like this. I don't like living in a space where people are not loved and that you have to follow certain patterns in order to receive love. Love is supposed to be that free thing, which we do not practice on planet Earth, but we're getting there, right? So the next phase that they wanted everyone to be cognizant of was how it is that you could make an intention because we're no longer living willy-nilly. That's the only word I can think of is that we have to walk through the unknown. We have to walk through the veil where we can't feel or see or know what the next step is. We just have to trust that once we have felt it, healed it, walked through it, right? Recognized it, cried about it, did whatever, and you take that next step out of it, then you have a choice in that moment because the veil is gone and you have all of these different perspectives that you could look at. So setting your intention before you walk through the veil, before you do the inner work. And this is going to be kind of like that upheaval. Every time you feel an upheaval, it's like, ooh, how do I want to walk through this? And it can be as simple as I'm choosing love. I'm choosing forgiveness. I'm choosing gratitude. I'm choosing to find my own light. I'm choosing self-worth, whatever it might be that's in the state of confusion. If you were to look at yourself from beyond the veil, let's say you've walked through the waterfall and you're looking back at what we would consider, quote, the older version of yourself, which we know, okay, I don't have to explain that, but the older version of yourself, what is it that you would want her to set the intention about? It's like, ooh, just let go, like get into forgiveness. So set that intention. I'm stepping forth with love. I am stepping forth with a new perspective. I am stepping forth with um, knowing that I'm worthy to receive whatever it is that I need to receive. And I think truly, if you don't know what to say, I would always just say, I'm stepping through with love. Knowing that I have the faith that love will carry me to wherever, whatever I need to be going to and through in this moment. Setting that intention's important. Your thoughts about it are important. But more than that, your nervous system, like all of the systems that we operate from, right? Our physical, our emotional, spiritual, our our nervous system is another one that you need to be cognizant of. Some of y'all might be needing a little bit more rest. Some of you all might need a little bit more of playtime, some forgiveness of self. Like ask yourself the tougher questions of, if I'm ready to walk through this, what do I need to give myself? And this is the time, listen, all the light workers, listen, y'all have been learning all of these tools, right? And if you don't have tools, it's okay. You can just use the word love and walk through it. But if you're somebody who's been studying, all kinds of different modalities from meditation to Qigong to Tai Chi to yoga to meditation to music to, sound healing to Reiki, whatever it is, art, creativity, Utilize those tools right now. Bring them forth into this journey with you. Take the time to create this. It doesn't matter how busy our lives are. The more that we practice this, that going through into this new earth, this new world, this new way of being will come about with grace and ease, depending upon how you are feeling about the situations in your lives. So, another tip that you could do for yourself as you're getting ready to walk through the veils, each one of your own veils, is to take a look at a color. Like if you're ready just to barrel through it, right? Like you've done the work and you feel like your nervous system can handle it. You're going to put maybe a color of gold around you. And gold kind of slips through quicker. And then go through the chakra systems. I mean, to me, gold is the connection to the divine. And put that color around you and allow yourself to walk through it, because then it won't feel so, for some of you, it won't feel like so overwhelming. And again, if you need support in that, of course, reach out. Sometimes people are going through really big transformations, and so their lives may look very chaotic to themselves, but to the outer world, people are like, why are you behaving this way? And that's the next layer that they're sharing, is that they really want us all to be cognizant of, we really have no clue. Listen, half of us don't even have a clue of what we are experiencing for ourselves because we're so busy in our day. We just know that we're having some emotions and that we don't sometimes feel like we can handle it, or we don't want to handle it and we want to ignore it. Listen, I just walked through that myself again. But it's interesting because it's easy to have judgment on others. And if you are in a judgment phase right now, which I think a lot of us are, make sure you're doing your own work of your own judgment, because whatever you're judging on others is truly something that you don't particularly like about yourself. And to walk through the veil of judgment, that's a big one, right? And there's no perfection in any of this. Please know that. Because, like I said, they're showing us layer after layer, veil of air, and we get to choose. We get to choose. Now, some of us are getting pushed to go through now. There's waves of this, is what I'm seeing. And some of us are getting pushed like it's time, go through the veil now. Like start living your life differently, because whatever is not going well in your life, wherever there's confusion, there's healing. And when there's healing, there's a new illusion you're breaking through. And once you get through that illusion, if you set the in path of saying, this is through love, this is through grace, this is through um, prosperity for all included, right? Then all of a sudden things will just start breaking open, and you're going to see the evidence of the work that you've done very quickly. But they are saying, if you're new to this, even if you are a seasoned person at this type of stuff, to make sure that you write down your evidence, the small little pieces of evidence of how you're seeing things going in the way that feels authentic to yourself now. Authenticity is truly going to be the way in which people will be signing up for whatever you're offering, for your businesses or what you're doing for a living. Big companies, what I'm seeing is that big companies that do not have the greater good for what their mission, like if they have a mission statement and they're not really following through and they're doing their little, white variances, white lies in behind it, those things and those companies are breaking down, and they will continue to break down until all of the business owners, and including self-employed people, you've all got to take a look at, like, what is it that I am offering? Is it in alignment with who I am now? And if it's not, I need to let that go. Hold on, sorry, loud truck. And when we give ourselves the grace to be cognizant of what it is that your new mission, when you walk through the veil, you're going to have an opportunity to say to yourself, okay, who am I today then? What is my premise? What is my new ideology? How am I going to operate today in this moment? Because once you've walked through it, there is this new variance. Like you will see things differently. You will appreciate more. You will go into gratitude much more easily. You may cry at beauty. You may, and listen, it's going to be different for everybody. I'm just giving examples of like what I've seen and what I'm seeing my clients walk through. It's like, it's like a new level of grace. And a lot of the times, right before you take that step, before you step into the water where you can't feel and hear, it feels the most intense. Like, I'm never going to walk through this. I can never deal with this. It's never going to happen for me. Or, you know how in the past when you've like done releasing work and you've worked through something and then all of a sudden it pops back up again. And you're like, what the bleep? Like, I thought I worked through this. To me, that, some people would say, oh, that's the test. You're going through a test. It could be that you're going through a test, however you want to look at it. It doesn't really matter. But it is this idea that you're meant to walk through it instantly when it pops up again. Don't dabble in it. Don't analyze it. Don't judge it. It's kind of like that last breakthrough before you step through the veil or the waterfall, however you want to look at it. Okay, I want to pull a card for the collective. I'm sorry, I don't have a card right in front of me. Hold on. Um, I have this deck that I've been absolutely in love with. It's called The Sacred Forest by Denise Lynn. She's got great decks. So I just kind of want to ask for the collective in regards to when we all decide in the moment to walk through it and to see our life in a different way, what's going to happen. Oh, beautiful. This is interesting. So the card is Wizard of Woods Focus. Yeah, and I will say it does take focus. And that's why I say the slow down. They've been showing me like everybody's got to do the slow down. Slow down doesn't have to last for a long period of time. This healing doesn't have to last a long period of time. That is truly, I don't think I have described that to you all, but there is no for a lot of us, this doesn't have to be a long arduous thing as long as you're taking the time to do the work when it appears. Okay, so the spirit of the Wizard of the Woods says, put your attention on what's worthwhile, loving, and beautiful. That is what will manifest in your life. What you focus on is what you create. This is a time to choose one thing to focus on rather than a slew of things and watch miracles abound. Ugh, I love that because in truth, like I said, they have been showing multitudes of opportunities to walk through these things and whatever needs to be worked on in order for your alignment with consciousness to grow. Because let's remember, the whole planet is rising up. Mama Earth herself, the whole galaxy we live in is rising up, which means that it can't rise up with dense heaviness, which means anything that you skew into a lower frequency cannot be around as you walk through the veil. It can be around until you walk through the veil, and then it's like it just releases it, right? It just releases it. But in truth, like even for myself, like the slowdown, listen, I'm a generator. Slowing down is like so painful. But that's the illusion that I have created. And that's the illusion that I'm working through. And that I'm saying, when I feel that I need to slow down to be cognizant of this and do this work, I set the intention of if I do this, that I realize I'm lighter and brighter on the other side for myself, most importantly. And I step through with love, knowing that I'm fully supported in slowing down enough in order to be cognizant of that release happening so that the growth and the magic and truly the absolute most amazing things are going to start to evolve for people. And they'll look back and say, holy crap, it was difficult to walk through it, but it only took an instant. It only took a moment for me to slow down and to go into gratitude and release and healing and love. and set my intention as love and walk through it. I'm sending you all a lot of love and light. As always, live with purpose and passion. Many blessings.